November 1930. The edge of Lake Anjikuni, Nunavut, Canada. Veteran fur trapper Joe LaBelle trudges through the deep snow towards the familiar Inuit village that has always offered him shelter on his long routes. But tonight, the usual sounds, the barking of sled dogs, the laughter of children, the murmur of life, are gone, replaced by an unnerving, absolute silence. He calls out. No answer. He enters the first igloo. A pot of stew, frozen solid, hangs over a long-dead fire. A child's unfinished sealskin garment lies on a sleeping platform. The entire village is here, but the people are not. They have vanished into the Arctic air. The Canadian North, even today, is one of the most sparsely populated and unforgiving environments on Earth. In the early 20th century, it was a different world entirely, vast, silent, ruled by the rhythms of the ice and snow. Joe LaBelle knew this world well. He was a seasoned trapper, accustomed to the solitude and the harsh beauty of the land. The small Inuit village nestled on the shore of Lake Anjikuni was a welcome stop for warmth and supplies on his trapping line. He knew the families there, had shared food and stories. So when he arrived that freezing November day in 1930 and found the village utterly silent, alarm bells immediately went off. It wasn't just quiet, it felt wrong. The air was heavy with an unnatural stillness. Smoke should have been rising from the igloos and tents. The sled dogs, usually a boisterous chorus announcing any arrival, were nowhere to be seen or heard. LaBelle, his unease growing, began to investigate. He pushed aside the skin flap of the first dwelling. Inside, the scene was baffling. Everything was in order, yet completely abandoned. A pot of burnt stew, now frozen solid, hung over a fireplace where the embers had long gone cold. Half-sewn sealskin garment lay beside bone needles, as if dropped mid-stitch. There were no signs of struggle, no indication of panic. It simply looked as if everyone had stopped what they were doing and walked away into the wilderness. He moved from dwelling to dwelling. The scene repeated itself. In one tent, he found valuable rifles leaning against the wall, essential tools for survival that no Inuit hunter would ever willingly abandon. In another, stores of food and fuel remained untouched. This wasn't a planned migration. People fleeing or moving camp would take their essentials, especially their dogs and weapons. This was something else, something instantaneous and inexplicable. The most chilling discovery came near the village edge. LaBelle found the entire team of sled dogs, dozens of them, dead. They appeared to have starved to death despite the ample food stores nearby. Their bodies were partially buried under snowdrifts, frozen solid. Why would the villagers abandon their dogs, their lifeline in this landscape, and leave them to starve? And then there was the graveyard. Inuit tradition involves burying their dead under cairns of stones. LaBelle knew this burial ground, but now the graves had been disturbed. The stones were scattered, and the bodies within were gone. This was a profound violation, something utterly taboo in Inuit culture. Who would do such a thing, and why? Overwhelmed by the eerie silence and the impossible scene, LaBelle made his way to the nearest telegraph office, miles away, and reported his discovery to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP. The Mounties, initially skeptical, launched an investigation. What they found, or rather didn't find, only deepened the mystery. The RCMP investigation officially confirmed Joe LaBelle's bizarre account. An entire community, estimated between 30 and possibly over 100 people depending on conflicting reports, had vanished. But the official investigation yielded few answers and only deepened the enigma. How could so many people disappear without a trace in such a vast, open landscape? Where were the tracks? Beyond a few ambiguous footprints leading out of the village, the trail simply went cold, swallowed by the wind and snow. Local trappers and missionaries offered strange, unsettling reports from around the time of the disappearance. They spoke of seeing a bizarre, pulsating cylindrical object, a strange light in the sky, moving silently over the region near Lake Anjikuni. These reports were initially dismissed as local folklore or misidentified natural phenomena, but in the face of the village's impossible disappearance, they gained a chilling significance. Could the strange lights be connected? Over the decades, theories have proliferated, trying to explain the inexplicable. Some suggest the villagers simply migrated elsewhere, though this doesn't explain the abandoned rifles, the dead dogs, or the desecrated graves. Others propose mass hysteria or a sudden localized epidemic that drove them mad, causing them to wander into the wilderness to die. But no bodies were ever found. Then there are the more fringe and perhaps more terrifying explanations. Was the village the site of a bizarre, unknown natural phenomenon? Perhaps a release of subterranean gas that caused hallucinations or death? Was it related to local legends of evil spirits said to inhabit the lake? Or does the answer lie with those strange lights in the sky? The theory of alien abduction, however outlandish it may sound, is one that stubbornly persists, seemingly explaining the instantaneous disappearance, the lack of tracks, and the bizarre aerial phenomena reported nearby. The official RCMP records on the case are themselves shrouded in mystery, with some researchers claiming files have gone missing or been heavily redacted. This lack of clear documentation has only fueled the conspiracy theories. Was there a cover-up? Did the authorities know more than they let on? The story of Lake Anjikuni has become a modern legend, a chilling piece of Canadian folklore. It exists in a gray area between documented fact, embellished retelling, and outright fiction. Some details, like the number of villagers or the exact state of the graves, vary wildly depending on the source. Even Joe LaBelle's original testimony has been questioned over time. But the core mystery remains undeniably haunting. A thriving community, perfectly adapted to their harsh environment, suddenly ceased to exist. Their homes were left intact, their vital tools abandoned, their loyal dogs left to starve, their sacred graves desecrated. Whether by human hands, natural forces, or something entirely otherworldly, the people of the Lake Anjikuni village were erased, leaving behind only an echoing silence and a terrifying question mark, etched onto the frozen landscape of the Canadian North.